welcome to another edition of Minor Obsession. I'm Sean Newton here with Scott Lieberman, and we've got another exciting show for you today. It's summertime. There's no Niners playing, so we're going to try out another segment. We've got some fan mail that's come in over the past couple days, mostly about current events for the Niners, and we're going to answer a few of those for you and try out something new. So, with that said, Scott, you got the first question.
Sure, let me open up this letter real quick. Just kidding, it's all via email. So, first one is from Jack in Florida. With the announcement of UNC Charlotte now playing UF in 2023, the exact date is September 23rd, 2023. What's your thoughts of the game? Will Charlotte pull out an upset in Gainesville? Do you want me to answer it, or do you want to go for it, Sean?
I mean, I think we're both going to say yes, definitely. I don't know. That's how I feel. That's 4 or 5 years of Will Healy in the door, establishing a program. I feel pretty good. I feel like Mike Hill's going to have a chip on his shoulder and really go in that locker room ahead of time. Maybe even just say, Will, step aside. I got this pregame speech.
Well, I would say, Jack from Florida, Charlotte already won by signing the contract, $1.55 million guaranteed.
True.
So Charlotte's already winning ahead of the game. If I'm trying to double my money here and I'm Charlotte, I'd put $1.55 million on UNC Charlotte covering the spread, whatever that may be. I think that's a guarantee. That's a stone cold lock for me.
Yep.
Winning the game itself, I would love for it to happen.
It's like 5 years away.
We're definitely going to be in attendance for that. But it doesn't happen very often. That's why these games are played at the away stadium, and that's why we're paid such a significant amount. The only, one I could really think of in recent history, which we all despise, is App beating Michigan. So, yeah, I would love for that to happen. I'd love that to be us, and then we could kind of get them to know their role and shut their mouth, as The Rock would say. But I don't think we're going to win, but I think we cover the spread.
But let me ask you this. Let me pose this to you, because it's years away, so it's tough to know what team we have or what team Florida has. But if you consider us on an upward trajectory now with a new coach in the door, trying to get new players, we already held Tennessee to one offensive touchdown and only 14 points last year, which is a SEC opponent, which I think Mike Hill wants us to be in eventually. Florida,
counter that
another
real quick,
SEC opponent.
To counter that real quick, Tennessee is by far the worst team in the SEC this year.
Sure. This year, sure. But still,
maybe Vandy.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that one. The quality of players you get when you're at a SEC school is going to be better than ours, bar none, to start with. No offense to any of our players. They do great. But just in general, the recruiting you get, whether you're the worst team in the SEC or the best team in the SEC, you're getting better players than we do just from basic recruiting elements. So if we build up from that, and we have a couple other opponents along the way from Power 5 schools, a couple each year, so we've got plenty of time to get used to playing the big dogs who've been around for a long time, I wouldn't sell so short.
Yeah, I would say the other side, which I'm more eager to take, is the push, which is kind of, I call it the Virginia Tech model, where we're so freaking good that Florida pulls out of this game a year or two in advance.
That's true. That's fair. It may never even happen. But with the Mike Hill
Florida connection. Yeah, I would hope it would happen. So, Jack, final words here is Charlotte definitely covers. They potentially win. It's going to be one heck of a ball game, and we're making that green in more than one way. Go Niners.
All right, moving on to the next question. So we have one all the way out from the West Coast, California. Brad in California asks, what do we think of Mike Hill's hire for softball? For anybody who hasn't paid attention, Mike Hill's new hire, Ashley Chastain. Scott, you got any thoughts before I dive in?
Sure. I would go back to Mike Hill's formula of hiring coaches. They're young, they're hungry, and they've done something at a major level to some degree. You can look at Will Healy. You can look at Anthony Davison with tennis. You can look at Coach Sanchez with basketball. And now you can look at her at softball. I'm excited about this hire. I think it's the right hire, and I think the youth in Charlotte is just really, really good stuff. And she's done so much from a pitching standpoint, and from all the baseball I watch, and the limited softball I watch, pitching is everything. That's why Jenny Finch was the star of
pulling out Jenny Finch.
Pulling out Jenny Finch, the star of those USA softball teams, because she was the one that got it done and didn't give up runs. If we can get that pitching staff going, we don't give us up as many runs, we're going to win more games, and we're going to be out there in the playoffs where we belong, where we haven't been in a long time, as we talked about on a previous episode when the decision was made to move in a different direction for softball.
If you haven't checked out Ashley Chastain's background yet, just to give you a little detail about what Scott's talking about. So she played at South Carolina, so she's from right down the road. I think she grew up in Georgia. 2011 grad, so really young compared to normal head coaches, especially at a big program, and has been a pitching coach for all of her career after graduation. Most recently with Ole Miss, but also with Michigan State and College of Charleston. So some good schools in there, 2 Power 5 programs, pitching coach, which is, like Scott said, one of the most important coaching positions on a baseball or softball team. So be interesting to see how she comes in and does now that the entire team's going to be taking her direction.
Yeah, and back to your point of played at South Carolina, coached at College of Charleston, is from the area. You got to think she's familiar with the high school region, has some connects around here, and should also be a really powerful recruiter.
Yep. Only time will tell.
So, last question from the mailbag. This comes from Andrew in Huntersville, finally getting closer to Charlotte. And he asks about the men's basketball team this year. Who do you think is going to be the most impactful player? John, go for you.
That's tough to tell already because we have a couple really good transfers. We have a couple people who had to sit out last season that might get some really good playing time this year. But I'm going to go with a tried and true stud from last season. I'm going to go Cooper Robb. He was hurt part of last year, which really set you back being hurt your freshman year, but still got in 22 games. During that time, his defensive presence just really blew me away. The amount of excitement that he put into playing defense was great. He ended with 10 blocks, 23 steals. And then on the other side of the ball, as he started to get into the swing of things midseason, later on in the season, ended up with 26 three-pointers, shooting 33.8 from the field from three-point land. So I like that. I like those numbers to continue to grow there. He's got the whole offseason to work out. He's healthy. I've seen videos of him and the rest of the team in the gym. So I know that things are only going to be up for Cooper Robb this year. What about you?
Sure. Before I give you my answer, I want to give a few honorable mentions because I like the
honorable mention the whole team.
I like the Cooper Robb. No, just two. Malik Martin was definitely a key player last year, and I know we were kind of on the Malik Martin, Cooper Robb bandwagon, so I'd like to just give him a little shout out. And then I think our only returning, I guess he'll be a junior, but Suprika, who really showed some improvements, leaps and bounds last year, and now has bought into the system. He's going to be one of our more senior players, so I'm excited to see what he does as well. With all that said, the person I think is going to be the most impactful player, and you alluded to a little bit, is one of our transfers from Oklahoma, Jordan Shepard. Jordan sat out all of last year, but was with the team, got to practice with them, got to see what Coach Sanchez is all about and what that formula looks like. And then I was looking back at, he was a 3-star recruit, which is respectable. And his time at Oklahoma, his freshman year, he got some minutes, and he played the number 1 ranked team in the country that year, Kansas, and a lot of other ranked teams, all losses. But then his sophomore year when he came back, they actually got 4 W's over top 25 teams with him in the lineup, getting some reasonable minutes for a sophomore, 10 to 20 minutes each one of those games. So they beat Wichita State, USC, TCU, and Texas Tech. And, again, played a lot of other top-ranked teams that they didn't necessarily get the victory over. But what I like about him coming in is his experience with playing those powerful top schools. He never really got to shine and get those minutes, but that's because we're kind of in an anomaly right now at Charlotte where our freshmen and our sophomore are getting all these crazy minutes. Once Sanchez really gets it cooking, those freshmen are going to come in. They might redshirt. They might play very limited minutes, but they're not really going to get the court until maybe their sophomore year, more likely their junior year. And he experienced that at a big program, and now he's coming in, got a year off, really worked on his body and everything. And I just see a really strong year from Jordan Shepard. I think he is going to fill that John Davis void while everyone else will step up and be good again, I think Jordan Shepard's going to be the all-star, the first-team Conference USA guy, the person that really leads us to double our victories or more.
That's fair. I like the Jordan Shepard pick. Honestly, with the recruiting class we have, I think you can pick anybody and have a pretty safe play that next season I think the ball is going to be spread around pretty well, and we're going to have quite a few people to talk about throughout the season.
Great. Well, I know we're fired up, even though it's summertime, and we appreciate those that submitted their questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can email us at minorobsession49@gmail.com. We're happy to take anything. We'll also have some more episodes coming up. We've got a pretty exciting interview next week, so be on the lookout for that. And as always, wear green.
And go Niners.